Hello everyone, welcome to my newest soundbite on YouTube. It is about children's television from the 1990s and the 1980s, the very end of the 1980s for most of you, because, well, no one's going to know it, and basically anyone under 20 who listens to this will not know about some shows. So I'm going to begin. Well, firstly I'm going to start with Sooty. Now, Sooty is this great big long history which I'm not going to delve into this week. Maybe in the future, once I get a camera. And Sooty is about the adventures of Sooty, who is a small bear, and his best friend Sweep the dog, who can only communicate by making loud squeaking sounds. Well, if you like. His girlfriend, who's a panda called Sue, who can talk. Well, everyone knows that. Of course, the panda can talk perfect English. And his little cousin Scampy, but he doesn't appear till later on. Sooty has this odd ability where he can speak, but only the presenter can hear him. Now, I always wondered why, because I don't trust anyone whose lips don't move. And, well, none of their lips move, they can't talk, they're glove puppets. And, yeah. Now, it's a very odd show, so it's a very long history, and is mainly hosted by Matthew Corbett when I was growing up. Matthew Corbett has been they did the show for 20 years. And Sooty's show was just strange. Some of the adventures were just funny, some were a bit weird, some were very odd. Anyway. And as I said, there's little cousin Scampy who appears later on when it becomes Sooty and Co. And Sooty and Co had one or two moments that had weird ones, like Matthew Kelly was in an episode, and for some reason they thought he was Dale Winton, oddly enough, and they did Supermarket Sweep. As you do. Before I go back, I'll go back to Sooty and Co later on, because I remember Sooty so much when I was growing up. It was part of my childhood. It was one of my greatest moments. But the most surrealist moment is when Sooty is learning to play the drums. And as you do, you get teachers and people to teach people instruments. But no, they got Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden to do the drumming. This in itself is incredibly surreal. And Iron Maiden still do the Sooty shows, the 1970s Sooty show opening at their concerts. And hardly anyone knows that. Come on. It's just brilliant. But just imagine how the hell can Nico McBrain just be taken this seriously, because he's doing really good drum solos from what I remember. And he actually still keeps a Sooty puppet on his drum kit. If anyone who's a big fan of Iron Maiden, you probably know this. But seeing him teaching Sooty how to play drums, or actually he was teaching Sweep. And Sooty and Co had one episode that was incredibly controversial because Sue pretended to be pregnant. This is a kid show. A kid show where a panda pretends to be pregnant. Well, actually that's a good thing surely, because there's not many pandas anymore. But, hey ho. And doesn't the Matthew wonder why she's pretending to be pregnant? I mean, well, she doesn't think he's pretending. She thinks he is, because he's got a pillow up her shirt. I don't know. I don't even remember this song, but I know it exists. If you look on the internet, it does exist. And it caused outrage, as most TV shows eventually do. Oh god. Other shows I do remember slightly are Bananas in Pyjamas. Now, I don't really know much about it, because I only saw it a couple of times when I was a bit too old. And Barney the Dinosaur, which is an American import. And, oh god, I don't understand that. Why is Barney the Dinosaur popular? I mean, American kid shows are really bad. The only good show I remember is Sesame Street. And Sesame Street was good. It was done by Jim Henson, and his puppets are amazing. And Jim Henson actually voiced Kermit the Frog, if anyone knew. But I mean, and anyone who Sesame Street is just this thing that's been on for years. But I'm not going to talk about that now. Next up is Rainbow. Now, Rainbow is a far more bizarre series, and was more made in the 1970s and 1980s, so most of you may not know much about this show. But I will say this, it is bizarre. I mean, what can you say? The main character is a giant bear called Bungle, who no one likes, and I don't blame him, he's annoying. There's Zippy, who's even more annoying, but he also has a zip for his mouth, so they can shut him up whenever. And good, because he's an annoying bastard, and I hate him. and then lastly, well, apart from the presenter, is George, a gay hippo. I say gay because if he isn't, I don't know why not. He clearly is. He has the campest voice I've ever seen in a children's TV show. And yeah, and it was hosted by a man called Jeffrey. Well, it had someone else doing it, but I never saw him. And yeah, also there's a music troupe in the show called Rod, Jane and Freddie. Now, originally it was Rod, Matt and Jane. Now Matt was Matthew Corbett from Sooty, oddly enough. And before I forget this, if anyone ever saw Sooty, they also did live shows. And the Sooty shows were actually quite fun. And I really want that to come back, because I heard they're doing a new show on Sooty. See, this is a tangent, isn't that great? And yeah, and the Sooty shows were hilarious, and the live shows were even fun. And I hope they bring it back, because, oh, why not? Anyway, back to Rainbow. Yes, Rod, Jane and Freddie. Now, originally, Jane was married to Rod, and eventually they divorced, as you do. And then she went on to marry the other one, Freddie. So yeah, she's like with both of them. That's quite good. Yeah. But they did live shows. They even had their own TV show, which I learned. And Jane, oddly enough, is going to appear on the Justin Lee Collins show on the 20th of March, which is today, if you're listening to the sound, right? Yeah, and talking about divorce of Rod, and she's composing a ballet of something or other. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, so they did really weird songs. I mean, I actually very much wonder why she married this Rod, because it's very odd. Because I remember shows in Rainbow where he was singing Little Jack Horner, and that was just strange in itself. But it was quite fun. And yes, I also remember a really weird one in Rainbow where they reenact Noah's Ark. Now children, and yeah, they did Noah's Ark, and Bungle was Noah. Bungle the bear. No one likes Bungle. I don't blame him. He's such a normal crap. Well, I say little. He's about 6 foot tall. And yeah, being Noah. And they don't even child it down. They say, "Oh yes, God," and he actually talks to God, which sort of weird. Kids TV shows don't normally mention religion to avoid offending someone, though almost everything offends someone. Yeah. It's a very old show, and also look on the internet for the adult version. This is so silly, and it's early Rainbow, because Freddie isn't a member of Rod, Jane and Freddie, nor is Matthew Corbett. That's in between, so it's early 80s. Quite funny. It's like talking about the kids playing with their balls. Yes, if you said that on TV now, you would get banned. And yeah, that's about it. I know this isn't as good as last week's, or the last one, rather. But I also recommend looking at a weird show called Button Moon. Button Moon is just so odd, it's hard even to explain. I mean, no, I can't explain it. Just look it up. It's somewhere between the clangers and LSD. I don't know. Anyway, I know this isn't good, but next week's one will be much better. Enjoy, and hopefully I'll have some more material for you soon. Next week's episode will be about the celebrity culture that we have in modern society. I know that sounds like an essay title for sociology or media. Well, I did sociology at A-levels, so enjoy.